Hi everyone, I'm Dylan Ratcliffe. I'm the founder and CEO of Overmind, and I'm going to take you through a really quick demo of what Overmind is and how it can help people in your team to get more confidence when they're making changes via Terraform by showing them the blast radius of the change that they are about to make and what all of the risks could be. Now, the way Overmind works under the hood is by discovering the relationships inside of your AWS and then using that to determine what the blast radius might be. In this example, I'm going to show you what that looks like just by poking at the back end. So this Explore view allows you to interact with your AWS using Overmind's access. Overmind only needs read-only access to AWS or Kubernetes. And then we can get information about what exists in there. So I've just listed all of the EC2 instances in this account, but we can also determine all of the relationships. So I double clicked that and that has shown me everything that is related to this EC2 instance within AWS. And I could go and click this instance and I would find a bunch more information. You can see this has a little bit more related to it. It's got a target from a load balancer. It's got an auto scaling group, and we can keep sort of following these breadcrumbs, or we can actually just list everything and map the entire account. Now, what's important here is this is just a way for you to explore your account using Overmind's relationships, but this is under the hood how Overmind calculates your blast radius as well. So when you make a Terraform change, it's using this technology to work out what is related and what the impact might be. This is all happening in real time. There's no database under the hood. It's always live, up-to-date data from AWS and Kube. So let's have a look at a Terraform change. So I have an example repository here, which I'm going to go in and make a change in. I'm going to change an ECS task. I'm going to change the health check on this task definition. Date health check. And I'm also going to create a pull request for that. This is pretty normal. Usually at this point, somebody would go in and review that pull request and they would look at what has changed. So in this case, we can see we've changed the health check from port 1234 to port 8080. And usually they would also look at the Terraform plan. Now, this demo environment does have Terraform integrated. We're just running it as part of a GitHub action. So we will get a plan, but we'll also send that plan on to Overmind. But before we do that, I'm just going to show you what the plan looks like so you can see what you would see today using just Terraform plan. So Terraform plan starts, it does its run, and it's going to spit out something that looks very similar to the code changes. So we can see here it's gone from health check on port 1234 to port 8080 on this task definition. Doesn't really tell us much else. It doesn't tell us whether this is a good idea. It doesn't tell us what application this is part of. It just tells us, I'm going to do this. And it relies on you and your tribal knowledge, your experience with the system in order to work out what the impact might be. And that's where Overmind comes in to help. So this is currently running, and what Overmind has done is it's taken that plan, it's found that resource in AWS, it's worked out what the blast radius is, and it's trying to work out what the risks are of this particular deployment. It's not done, but I can still jump into it here and see at the very least the blast radius while the risks are still calculating. So this is the blast radius for this change. We can see the thing we're actually changing is this task definition. Overmind has then gone and found a task which is related to it. Now this task is not managed by Terraform, it's managed by ECS itself. That task has an IP. That IP is actually the target of a load balancer health check, which is part of a target group, which is part of this load balancer. We can see here that the load balancer has a DNS name. There's a CloudFront distribution that points at it. There's quite a lot of infrastructure that might be affected by a change to this facial recognition task. Now, we don't expect someone to review this whole graph. That's the reason we're calculating the risks. They're done now, so if I just hit refresh, we can see we've got a couple of dots that are pulsing here, and if I zoom in, I should be able to see, if I click this, it'll zoom in. and show me what the risks are. So we can see here the proposed change switches the health check to localhost 8080 from 1234. Based on the current configuration, container definitions, and the ELB target group, the container expects traffic on 1234, as indicated by container port and load balancer container port. This reveals that the application is configured to serve on 1234, and moving the health check to 8080 without ensuring the application also listens on 8080 could result in failed health checks, causing the service to be considered unhealthy, which leads to unnecessary task terminations and restarts, potentially causing disruption and downtime. This risk, as you can see, is very specific to this change. It knows that we're changing a health check. It knows what we're changing it to, and it's used the context, in this case, this task health check that it found, to determine actually this probably isn't right. There's multiple pieces of evidence, which is the current configuration within ECS and the load balancer, that both point to 1234. There's really no evidence that points to 8080 being correct. And so it's marked it as a high risk and returned this risk inside of the Overmind GUI. If we go back, we can see the same risk here and with just the summary of the change. We have also, as part of a GitHub action, added this as a comment. So we can see this was added 2 minutes ago. This exact same risk is added as a comment. So the user doesn't have to leave GitHub or GitLab or whatever you use. They can get the information right there. It's really important to us that you don't have to change your workflow massively to use Overmind. We should be able to inject these risks anywhere that you need them. However, if you do need more information, you can click the link. It brings you into Overmind, and then you can look at the blast radius to understand, okay, why might this be a problem? Why is it configured this way? What do I need to do in order to fix it? We also do take snapshots. So when you merge a pull request and actually apply that change, we do take a snapshot before and after to see whether there are any unexpected changes. This is an example of a change that did have some unexpected changes. We were planning to update these two instances, but we also saw some network interfaces being deleted, some volumes being deleted, all as part of this one change. Now, the reason this happened is because these volumes were attached to the instances and they were set to terminate when the instance terminated. And so AWS cleaned these out, even though Terraform didn't tell it to. That's normal AWS behavior, but it's something Terraform didn't know was going to happen and didn't show up in the plan. But we did capture it here, so you can use that to make sure that things have actually happened as expected and that there haven't been any downstream problems caused by your change. So that's Overmind. If you need any more information, you have my email. Please feel free to email me. I'm happy to give you another demo or talk in more detail about how it works. Thank you very much.